This is India Tonight, and I'm Supriya Srinath.
Hi there, I'm Sandeep Gurumurthy joining you live from our news centre in Mumbai, and you're watching India's #1 business news channel. And straight to the top story tonight. Good news from the weatherman. Finally, there will be rains aplenty this year after 2 back-to-back years of drought. That's a prediction from the Met Department, which says monsoon rains this year will be 106% of the long-term average. According to the Indian Meteorological Department, or the IMD, the El Nino effect is already on the decline, with several regions across the country witnessing a fall in temperature.
Now, speaking to ET Now after releasing the rain forecast, LS Rathore, the Director General of IMD, said that the temporal and spatial distribution seems all right, although some areas like Tamil Nadu may face a shortfall. And in what comes as a huge relief for the drought-hit Marathwada region, the IMD says it doesn't expect any delay in the onset of monsoon this time around. The rain factor and what it means to the broader economy is a top story right here on India Tonight.
It's not just the farmer staring at his parched land, or the average Indian amidst the heat wave, or for that matter, Indian industry whose fortune depends on Bharat. But these high and mighty men too keep an eye on the sky, because rain matters to all of them. And in some news that will bring in cheer, India's weathermen have predicted above normal rainfall this monsoon season. Especially significant after a drought for 2 years, monsoon is likely to be 106% of the long period average. There is a 94% probability that monsoon will be normal to excess this year, and largely a fair distribution is expected across India. El Nino is still strong but will diminish by June-July. And there is a possibility of La Nina having an impact later. Monsoon is expected to reach Kerala coast by usual time, but Northeast India and Southeast India, particularly Tamil Nadu, may get slightly less than normal rainfall. The good news is that drought-hit Marathwada is also likely to receive good rainfall. Agriculture, which contributes 15% to India's GDP and employs about 60% of the country's population, depends heavily on irrigation. In fact, only 40% of the cultivable area is under irrigation, and which is why every drop of rain counts. After all, a good rainfall puts a virtuous cycle of rural and urban economy in motion, which entails higher investments, more jobs, and robust growth. The string of good news doesn't end there. IMD projects that the coming few years will also get normal rainfall, which could provide some much-needed stability to the agriculture sector. Due to poor monsoon last fiscal, 10 states have declared drought, and the centre has sanctioned relief packages of about 10,000 crores to help farmers. Rainfall last year was 14% below normal, and 10 states have declared drought. It hasn't only added burden to the fisc, but a sagging rural economy has taken a toll on corporate earnings, and in turn, urban investment and growth as well. And so, this little help from the clouds will cement recovery going forward. Krishanu Mukherjee, ET Now, New Delhi.
All right, time to get you a word from the IMD itself. Speaking exclusively to ET Now's Ruchi Bhatia, LS Rathore, Director General at the Met Department, is confident that the rain will come and bring the much-needed respite to India's agrarian economy.
As far as error margin is concerned, the model error is of ±5%. And as far as distribution is concerned, temporarily we see that all the months are going to get copious rainfall. That means that the temporal distribution is going to be okay. So also the spatial distribution as it appears now is going to be okay.
But you also said that northeast areas and some part of the southern peninsula would be where we could see lesser rainfall. Could that be a cause of worry at a later stage?
Fortunately not, because northeast monsoon, they normally get their normals are very high. So some lesser amount of rainfall in northeast in some sense is a good sign for them. And as far as the southeastern part, which some districts of Tamil Nadu, Rayalaseema. Traditionally, when we get good rainfall, monsoon circulation, they get some or lesser rainfall.
What about the chances of El Nino this time around? You're saying you're likely to see El Nino effect weakening. So what is the impact it is going to have at a later stage? And also, if you could shed some more light on the La Nina effect?
Temperatures in equatorial Pacific region is already on the decline. And by the time monsoon circulation sets in, that will be either neutral or, and the later half of later half of the monsoon, there may be below normal temperatures in equatorial Pacific. So that is a good news.
So we'll see a monsoon hitting India on time this time around, as far as the dates are concerned.
It is difficult to give dates as of now, that we will give 2 weeks before the onset time. But as it looks now, it seems to be okay.
All the farmers and policymakers must also be giving a sigh of relief. It's a good news. We welcome that. And but still always be a little cautious. There is a difference in the forecast that SkyMet is making with IMD in terms of what will happen in June. Whether it will be a bumper year or not, let it get it back on track. I think we had gone down under, and let agriculture come back to 4%, 5% growth rate, so that at least we can recover a part of the lost ground.
There is a downside to all of this. The downside to all of it, it's not a downside, it's a dampener. The dampener is that the parts of the country which are suffering from drought will continue to suffer for some time, because the full effects of the present monsoon will only come about at around August or September. There is a shortage of reservoir water. There's a lot of water requirement which is to be replenished. So I think, one shouldn't be jumping up and down, but you'll get perhaps a record output of agricultural crops.
This is one of the key things that we are all looking forward to. So from rural demand supplementing urban, government spending driven urban demand. And it's not just rural demand so much as water has begun to encroach on public policy space. I mean, I think we're coming in from this. I think so the immediate pressure will come down. But one thing that I have to emphasize at this point in time, we have been seeing some initiatives to try to put in place long-term water management. I hope and I really pray that we get good rains this season, so that immediate pressure is off of government to take ad hoc actions.
I think it's great development for our markets, and it comes in at a point of time when some of the other variables which impact stocks also are turning positive. For example, interest rates are trending lower again. We saw the interest rate cut which took place earlier in the month by RBI. We would have a confluence of very good factors over the next 3 months or so. That's the April to June quarter. And I think that you could see the markets really get excited and scale up to at least maybe 5, 7, even 10% over the next 3 to 4 months is not unlikely or beyond the realms of possibility.
Now, what are the brokerages saying about the IMD forecast? We've got Yatin Mota joining us from our research desk right here. Yatin, market men were keenly awaiting this one commentary from the weatherman, and brokerages seem to be now cheering the forecast.
Well, the brokerages have given a thumbs up when it comes to the IMD forecast for rainfall in 2016. In fact, if you look at Kotak, they say that the IMD forecast is, on the positive side. Of course, it's premature to talk about the impact going forward. But as of now, they believe that a normal monsoon will spur the rural economy, much required respite for the rural sector. And also they believe that given the fact that the inflationary pressures could be lower on account of normal monsoon, the probability of higher rate cuts going forward increases. Also, if you talk about Nomura, they say that the above normal rains will support food output, and not only that, they'll lift the agri-related incomes, which will spur demand, which is lagging so far versus the urban side. And in fact, if you look at trade today, we saw tractor and agri-related stocks surge in trade. So the optimistic view is that it will have a positive impact on the market's demand and probably spur rural growth, which will probably boost the overall incomes of the rural households.
Yeah, then telling us why brokerages are cheering this forecast that's been put out by the IMD. But let's put this all in perspective. Everyone's talking about why it's so critical to get the monsoon on track after 2 years, 2 consecutive years of drought, which we haven't seen in a very long time. So let's tell our viewers, why do these rain matter so much? It's a virtuous cycle. More rain essentially means higher crop output. So that's the immediate impact of better rural rain, which will lead to higher rural income, which is very critical as well, because as rural income goes up, then it's positive for corporate earnings, which is of course positive for markets, which boosts investments and job creation, which in turn of course boosts economic growth. So that's the virtuous cycle, why it's so critical to get the rain picture right.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.